Okay, this is the second video of building this BMI calculator, where in the first video we created this simple UI and this slider. So, and also we did learn about theming, custom components, and many other things. So let's start with adding little functionality to this. Then we had this navigation. So let's start with button thing. So when I click on this button, I want to increase a number or a decrease a number, right? So I'll just go to this expanded widget where this is the one. So what I can do is just close everything. Okay, this is the one. I'll just go here. If you could see the rounded buttons, these are the separate widgets, right? And when I click on this rounded button, I'll just go to that widget. If I click on this flat action button, I want it to work. So for now, let's print some kind of things. Let's try to print it and see. So before that, how can we make it work? So what do I mean by work is, how can we add a property of on press? Since it's a button, for sure it will be having an on press functionality, so you don't have to worry. So where we have just kept it as null. So what we can do, instead of null, I'll just write it as, I'll just create one more variable where we can able to pass the action that we wanted to do. So what is this on press expecting? So if I just hover on there, so it is expecting a function that is a void function. So I'll create a variable that returns a void callback, which is nothing but a callback function. So I'll just give a name to that as on press only, and I'll make sure this, and also this can be this is like a required feature because we are just using it for only two components. So make this as a required dot on press. So instead of giving null, let's replace it with the on press. Now we can see the error in the both the places because it is expecting something. So what I can do is, I can just write on press. So the moment when it press, we will send an callback function. It is an anonymous function. So what we want to do is, when it clicks on the minus button, we want to decrease weight. If it is 50, we want to decrease this number. Since it's in the variable, we can easily manipulate it. So I can just write, and very important, make sure it is inside the state set state, because every changes to help us to modify the UI, I mean rebuild it. So what we are doing, we are just making the weight as a decrease. We are basically decreasing the weight every time when we click on here. Same way, when we on press on the plus icon, we are having this callback function, and we are setting the state to weight, incrementing the weight. Okay, if I click on this, the number should be incremented. Make sure it is saved. So but it's not working. Let's see what's the error. Rounded button icon. Okay, there's a little error that we made. Just go below down. Okay, it's not working because we are not added here. So let's try to add here also. On press. So when we click on the age button of the remove, I just have to create a callback where here we are setting the age. We are decreasing the age. So what is this sign of minus? Minus is nothing but we are telling age equals to age minus 1. So basically this is how we are telling. So there's a short form for this, that is minus minus. So I can just use that. Okay, so on press, so I'll just write, when it is pressed, I want to set the state to age increments is number. Okay, if I hit save, if I try to do it now, there will be a change in the number. Now it's working fine. Clear? I hope it's clear. Okay, now let's do a little refactoring thing. What is mean by refactoring? See, if you could see in the one page, there's like a 200 and plus lines of code, which is very bad practice and which is not recommended for anyone to do in this way as a developer. So we have to keep it simple, modular, because anyone from your team or anyone others review your code, they should have to understand what you made. So that's how people will notify you as a good developer. So what we are doing is we are just refactoring a code. If you could see here, these are like a mini widgets, right? So what I can do is I can create a folder that is a directory, and I can name that as a widget. So when I do this, I can just create a one more file under the all the widgets, like let it be a BMI card, and I'll just import the material flutter from the material flutter, and I'll just cut this here. I'll go back to BMI card, make sure I'm pasting it right below here. Okay, and I'll just go back to the home screen, and I'll just cut the card content. I'll create a new widget, new file inside the widget called as a card content, and we'll just import it with the material. Then I'll just paste this and make sure import the respective uh, constants file for this particular widget. Go back to home. It is throwing an error because these files are missing. So we'll fix that. We'll just go here, cut the one more, that is rounded button, create a new file called as rounded button, import the material and paste the rest code. Come back here and make sure these files are being imported. How can you do? You can go directly there, or you can just come here, hit control and hit control space, where you can select the file you want to import, or you can directly come here up. One more we want this and rounded button, so I can just come here, I can write import a rounded button. I can just write a package flutter. We wanted a rounded button, which should be there. Let's see, yeah, it's there. So I'll just come back here, I'll write widgets. So we'll go into the flutter dot widgets folders, widgets slash, then we are able to packages BMI calculator. Now it is fine. So just copy the same thing, replace it with the rounded button, that's all. Instead of card content, we wanted a rounded button, that's all. So we are taking it from the package BMI calculator app, that is the project name. From there we have a folder called widgets. From there you are taking it from the file name. So it will clear an error. By this we have cleared a few things, right? So if you could see here, it is little bit quite understandable for someone who comes here and sees this. And it is less than 200. Now it has reduced to 150, 160, 169. So it has become little less. Okay. So the next thing we'll do is, we have added few functionality to here, and the slider is working fine. We just have to make this clickable. Why do we want this clickableness? If the user is a male or female, when we click on the card, we want to tell that card is selected. Because if you don't show any kind of reaction to the what user's action, they might feel like the phone is hanging, or they think that it's not working properly. So to avoid all this confusion, so let's add a functionality of clicking here and making it visible, activating the colors. Before that, we'll separate the two active colors. We already made that in the constants. So we have this constant file, right? Here we have added this CTA color. Let's add one more constant. It is an active color, that the color you are seeing, and we want another color that is an inactive color. So I'll just go here and write color and replace it with the color that I have. So we pasted both active colors and the inactive colors. So let's create a one more property for this card called as a color, because we want to tell which is active and inactive, right? So let's go back to this BMI card, The card is nothing but the card that you are seeing. So here we have explicitly given a color. Instead of that, let's create a one more variable called a color only. So let's go here. So let's remove this, write a final keyword, and a color takes color, data type is color. So I'll just write a variable color, and I'll create a default constructor which will require a variable called color. Okay, the reason it is throwing an error because all the final variables must be initializing, but the card child is not. Okay, basically we have, when you are using a something called this constructor, we have to make sure everything is initialized. Maybe we have removed that in the previously, so we just have to initialize this dot card child. Okay, now it's better. It is, the error is gone. So if I go to home, it is throwing error because it is expecting a color. So what color they want is the thing that is expecting. So we'll just create a property called color. Let's have this active color everywhere. Okay, and come back here. Here also color should be an active. So I'll just copy this. So wherever the BMI is used, I'll just add a property, a property called a color, that is an active color. Come back down in the last one, I have to just add this, and here. So now it's in the active color. So what we want to do, when I click, first initially when we reload it, we want one to be active, one to be inactive. Let's say we want male to be inactive, where we'll just replace it with the inactive color. It should be something like this. Okay, the moment when I click on the male, it should become active. This is the overall funda. So let's achieve one by one. Okay, let's first create a on click functionality. So how can we do? Let's go back to this BMI card where we did this. So here I want to add an on click thing. Here we have two property. One is we can enclose this with a button, but when we enclose this in a button, it becomes an like all the styling of button will be implemented. If I want to show you people is, you can just click on this and wrap it with the elevator button or some button. It becomes a properties like this. Let's keep this on press as null for now. See, it just changes the UI. So we don't want that to be happening, right? So how can we create an some kind of an on tap or the on touch on the button without changing the entire styling? So that's where we have something called as gesture widget. So this gesture detector widget, what it does, it does not add any kind of styling. It just give a property called on tap. Okay, when you tap on this, there should be some kind of stuff should happen. So let's write on. So let's create a one more variable called a final variable that called as an on press. So on press wants what kind of a data? It needs an callback, that is a void callback. So I can just write a void callback, which is an on press. Okay, and make sure this is actually, to be honest, this is not required feature. So it is not required feature. You can just add a question mark, which is nothing but a telling this could be a null. This variable could be null. So I'll just write this dot on press. So in the on tap, we can just pass the on press. So the moment when I tell it can be nullable, we don't get an error. If I just remove and tell required, then the error will be shown. So I'll go back to the home screen. So if you could see here in the home screen, I have the one more feature called on press, which is an callback function. So moment when I clicked on this mail button, mail card, I want to print it as a mail card. Same thing with the female card. When I click on the on press, which is an callback function, I want to print it as a female card, and let's check if this is working. So let's try to save this first and click on the female card. So yeah, we are rendering the print statement that we are called. So now it's working fine. The next thing what we want to do is, now the color is inactive, right? So what I want to make this, so when the moment color becomes, the inactive, the moment it is clicked, when it is selected, we want to change that to be something called from inactive to active color. So but we wanted something to hold this, like a selected color or something. So when it moment it becomes true, we can change it. So let's create a variable called the variable that is a color called as selected card, which is by default let it be in the false. Okay, and also let's give an initially, okay, sorry, if it is false, it have to be an boolean. So it is a boolean, it is telling, it is verifying is this card selected or not. And let's create an initial value to this instead of us giving an inactive directly. So let's create a variable called a color, where it is a male card color which is a inactive color. So instead of writing inactive color, I'll just write a male card color. Here also instead of writing active colors, so I'll just write an one more variable that is an color, which is an female card color which is equals to active color, and I'll just write there as female card color. Okay, now it looks the same thing. So now it is false, right? The moment it becomes true, I want it to flip the colors. Okay, maybe you're not getting all, let's forget this for now. So now you are understanding what we just did it. This color, the male card color is now inactive and the female card color is active. Okay, the moment when we click on the button of the male card color, which is an active color, inactive color, I just want to convert this male card color to active color. Okay, understood? Now it is in the inactive state, right? Now it is in the inactive state. You can see when I click on this, I want to make this as a active color. And you also remember, if I try to click on this now for the many times, it's not working because, as I told, it's in the if it is in the state full widget, you have to make sure everything, when anything that you want to change should be wrapped here with the, what do you call, the set state property. It's like a updating values. So now it is in inactive, and I click on this, it will become an active. Clear? So this is what we want to achieve. But if I try to click on it again, it doesn't go back or switch to the normal active color, because once it is created, we want to tell it again that it want to change. So let's create a method or a function, it does the vice versa thing. So how can we do this is, so let's go here. Here we have given the male card color, right? So let's say if the card is selected, if it is a selected card, which means if it is selected, then let it be in the male card color, or else let it become a female card color. You're getting a point, right? Same thing we'll do here. If it is selected card, let it become a female card color, which is an active color, or it's become an that is a male card color. Okay, so let's reload it. Okay, now let's write a method called update the color, where it takes a input of which is a selected card. Is the card is selected or not? Okay. I mean, how do we know which card is that? Let's say if it is click, if the one is, if the card sends an input of 1, it should be a male card, and if it is 2, it's a female card. I mean, when you call this function, if you pass a integer, that is an gender number, that is gender, and if it is 1, that is a male, if it is 2, then it's female. So first let's check if this card is selected or not. So if the selected card, sorry, if the gender equals to, what is the gender you have sent, which is equals to 1, means if it is equals to 1, then what we want to do is, we just have to check one more thing, that is that the male card, what is the male card, whatever the card color is, if it is equals to active, usually card will be inactive, so if it is equals to K inactive, then we are telling to change that male card color to the active color, and the moment when the male card is active, we want a female card to be inactive. It is very important. Okay, or else you will see both of them in the active state, so which is very bad. So what we'll do, we'll just make sure female is inactive, so vice versa. We'll just copy this. If else, if the male card color is an active, if it is an active state, just make it as inactive, and make sure the other color, the other card, that is female card, to be an active state. Okay, this only applies if the gender is 1, that is a male card. So what if there is a female card, that is an else if genders becomes equals to 2, just nothing but the whole scenario should be repeated again. Copy it here. Instead of male card, I'm just replacing it with the female card. Female card. If the female card is an first, if it is an inactive, just make the male card as an active. Sorry, if it is an if the female card is a active, yeah, if the female card is active, so just change it to the active color, then just change the female color to the inactive and male color to be active. If the again the female card color is inactive, just make sure to turn that into inactive. Sorry, just make this as inactive first. Change this to the inactive card. Inactive. So then it will become active. So reformat it. Okay, whenever we call this function, we are passing an statement that is either it is 1 or it's 2. So if it is selected, it becomes true. Then we can change the color according to it. So okay, when I click on the male button, the male will be selected. If I click on the female, female will be selected. Yeah, this looks cool, but don't you think it is too much way of not so much precise? Because so let's say if I come here as a some other developer, and if I see update color 2, what does this color 2 does? That person have to go here and see, okay, 2 means it's a female. So don't you think this is a very hard way and also a wrong way? Because you have to write a code in such a way that the people from the other, who is not even in the team, who is a developer, if they're able to see, they just have to understand what's going on at least, right? So making our own rules of keeping, if I call one you have to come, if I call two you have to come, it is wrong way. So instead of that we can use something called enums. So if you have not watched the Dart course of enum, so it is better you go and watch that. So how do we create enum? With the keyword of enum, and you have to remember one thing, we can't create a enum inside the classes, so it always have to be kept outside. So let's create a variable called a gender type. And what are the gender type we have? One is a male, one is a male, another one is female. These are the two types we have. So what we can do is, here I can just replace a int with the gender type. We want a type of gender. Instead of one I can just tell gender type dot, I want, if it is a male, do it in this way. If it is way of type of female, you want to render in this way. So when it comes here, instead of passing 1 and 2, so I'll just write gender type is male. So okay, gender type is male, and also the color what you are updating is male card color. Okay, and here female card color, and I just have to change this here to gender type dot female. So this also now works. See, okay, now this is fine. So we are using an if or else condition, and we are making this. So but we can make this even make this it even simpler using this enums. How can we use? We can use a ternary operators. You might be familiar with the ternary operators of if and else, right? So using this, how can we make this property? Let's see. So here is the challenge. We have to use this ternary and also this enum to replace all this big kind of problem or the if else condition that I have written. So using enum, what we can do, we can just comment all this. We can use a simpler method, or you can just remove this. How is the simpler method is? So let's create a variable that is of a type gender type called selected gender. Okay, for initially let it be a gender which is not selected anything, or I can just tell it is selected to gender type of female. Okay, you're clear? Okay, so the moment when I click on some button, click on card, like I click on the main male card, we have to change this selected. First it is female, right? I have to change that selected gender to male. Selected gender type to male. Same way, when I click or update, click on the female card, I want to change the variable that is a selected gender to the data type of, gender data type of female. Done. And how can I update this color is, see, when the selected color, if it becomes selected gender, if it is equals to gender type dot male, we are using a ternary operator. Then we want, if it is selected, we wanted that to be an active color, or else we wanted to be that inactive color. Done. Same way here also with the vice versa. That is, if we select on the selected card is selected gender is female, selected gender equals to gender type dot female, then let it become a active color, or else let it be an inactive color. Clear? And how will we get to know this gender? Because when we click, we are assigning the value to that particular card. So right now the initial is female. If I click on here, it becomes male. If I click on here, female. So just by using enums, we just removed a big line of code that we used to do. So enums has solved many things right now, right? So it has solved the issue of which card belongs to which. So like a type has been defined. So this what's the advantage of enum. So with a simple line of code, like 2 to 3 line of code, we can finish this changing things. Fine. The next thing that we have to concentrate is navigation. So when I click on this calculate your BMI button, it have to take me to the next screen, that is a result screen. So this is the card we have to build. When I click on the calculate your BMI, it have to take me to the next screen, that is the result screen. Where in this result screen, we have to build a simple UI. So challenge for you people, pause the video, make out the dividing levers, make a UI system, make sure you are building each and everything, because it is so simple. We already have this card. So inside that card I have to just replace the content, and also this a button is already been made, we just have to copy and paste. So clear? So pause the video and do this. So before you making the next screen, so let me explain you a simple concept of navigation. So if you could see, I'll just scroll this down. Before that, I'll just collapse everything that is not needed. So this is the one expanded child, second and the third. Below that we have a container, which is like a button we made. You can just increase if you want 25. Just a 25, little more bigger if you want, or else stick to 20. Fine, let it be like a 24 or something, it will be better. Okay, fine. So this container should have something on press button or on tap something, right? So what is the one thing that we learned? We have this gesture indicator, which is a very good widget, because it helps us to wrap the widget without changing their whole design system. So it is very important. So here we have a on tap, which has a callback function. So when we click on this, we have to navigate to next page. So the first thing you have to remember is, first let's create a new screen. How can we create a new screen is, go to lib, create a new folder directory. Let us name this as screens. We already have one screen, that is home. So try to put that inside the screens, refactor that, and make sure everything is properly imported. Yeah, it is imported. So under the screen, I'm creating new screen, that is called as result screen. Okay, and I have to import the Flutter material package, Flutter from the Flutter material package, and I have to use a stateless widget, which is called as a result screen. And the reason I am using stateless widget particularly here is because, see, we don't have nothing to be changed in the screen, I mean the second screen. Everything that we are getting data is in the first screen. We have to get a data from here, and we just have to give it to the second screen. So you don't have to worry about changing something in the second screen. If there is a changing things in the second screen, then we have to make this as a stateful widget. Clear? So let's go to the home screen. So what we have to do, when we click on this, we have to navigate to the next screen. Okay, observe it properly. We have a property called navigator, where we can perform kind of action like a push pop of the screens. What is this push pop of the screens is? Usually screens have been stacking one on the another. You guys know about stacking, right? So it's like let's imagine there is a container like structure. Let's make a container. So let it be a container where each of your screens, let's say the screen, let's take a screen of this. If this is the screen of yours, the another screen will be stacked on one another. If you could observe, go and go to any app that you like. First go to the main screen, go to the home, go to the status, check status, come back, go to someone's profile, come back, uh, go to someone's profile, check their post, check their comments, check their likes. When you hit on the bottom back button, you'll go back to the previous button. It's like you're just popping off the each screen with the movement when you hit back, right? So what we are doing this only. First we are stacking in, that nothing but we are first pushing the screen one onto another. Now it's an home screen is right here, right below. So it's an home screen and the above is the result screen. Okay, when I pop this out, which means the home screen will be first visible. Clear with the topic of this navigator? So back in the code. So navigator has a property called a push. We want to push, which nothing but we want to take off this screen out, and I mean we have to push a new screen that is nothing but an result screen. So which has a two property, one is a context and another one is a route. So why do we want this context? What is context here is, if you could see here, there's something called as build context. So it is mainly used to build the widget again and again, and also here we are specifying explicitly saying a context because in the tree widget it have to know which widget is being updated or which widget is been indicating to update. We have to give a track, right? So it's telling this is belongs to this nearly widget or nearly context. So then this widget or this whole widget will be rebuilded. And route. So in the route we have something called material page route, which has a builder. So builder is nothing but the context. We want to build the context every time there's a change in the navigator. So which is nothing but which takes a callback function. We can just write an arrow function. If you are not familiar with the arrow function, it's just instead of writing written keywords with the curly braces, we just use a arrow bracket, arrow thing. If you not referred it, go and check the Dart course. So I just want to return what we want to return, a result screen. So result screen, if I just hit save and also make sure end the statement with a semicolon. So the moment when I click on the calculate button, which should take me to the result screen. So if it is not, there should be some error and we are missing where is the error coming from. Let's see where is thing. We'll just reload the everything. Okay, let's hit on the calculate. See, there's some error. It has been throwing saying there is a multiple arrow that shares the same tag within the subtree. Do you guys remember that I told you that there will be an error if you place both the buttons? You can see that in the third expanded column where you are keeping two buttons next to each other, right? That is basically an elevated, the button from the floating button. You are placing that one next to each other. So, which is throwing an error. So how can we solve this? As I told, go and check in the stack flow. So here is the solution. See, they have given a multiple solution, but think of what can you be achieved in a less time and a less thing. The one thing that I liked is here. So usually every floating button will have a hero tag that is just a name like a title. You can make this as a null. If you do that, it will become normal. So let's check that. So here in the code, let's go to the rounded button, which is a reusable block of code where you have a floating button. The hero tag should be null. So moment I save it and if I reload it again, which should work fine. So let's check if it goes to the next screen without any error. So the next screen is empty because we have not written anything. We can just write a body. Before that, make sure the app bar, whatever we did in the first screen of the app bar, copy the same app bar, come back here in the result screen, paste that app bar. So which should be an BMI calculator one. You are seeing this. automatically, this is the speciality of the navigator. Why we want to use navigators? Automatically an arrow will be generated. If you don't want, we can remove it. It's not a big issue. If I click on it, it go back to the normal page. Okay. So we have a BMI calculator. The rest you have to write or you have to code it. Okay. Pause the video. I'll show you how to do it. So take the screenshot of this. Try to replicate this design. There's nothing to be worried. These are stacked in a column. First element will be text. Second will be a BMI card, which we already did. Inside that we have again the column, 3 textures, and the one button. Just copy and paste it to here. Okay. I hope this is clear to you people. So pause the video and do. Okay. If someone has stuck or something, if someone didn't know, so this is for you. And if anyone has done with the UI, it's good. And it's not all the time that your UI code and my UI code should be similar. It's okay, but until it's still working, so it's okay even if it is different, because we have a variance in the widgets. We can use many things, so it's nothing wrong in that. Okay, let's get started. So inside the bottom we want a column which has a children's, which basically has a 3 property. First one will be a text, which is stating it as a results, your results. Just write your results and give a text styling to it. Style, which we can try to give the style of the number once we have defined. Let's see if it is too big, so let's give our own. Let's give our own text style. It doesn't matter, fine. Font size should be like 30, which is good amount. Okay, let's keep it as 40. 50 is a good number then. Okay, fine. Your results is better looking, and let's make our letters facing as a 0. Okay, and let's give a font weight as a 400, like a 500. Okay, it's looking good. So what we have to do is we have to give a little space to this result slide. I can just enclose this text with the click on the alt, enter, will get a list. I can just wrap it that with a padding, which will give me a padding. I want a padding to be like a 16. Okay, now it's better. So the next element that I want is an BMI card. So what I'll just do is that card I want that is like a BMI card, which should be an expanded one, should take up the things. So I'll just use a BMI card. Okay, which will take a color. I want the color to be an inactive. Sorry, it should be an active. Okay, and the card child should be like a column. It's taking a children which has a 3 text. First will be our results. Let's say first, okay, if you could see, it is taking up the full screen of this, which is okay, not bad, but it is only taking the content. So just under the column, make sure that cross alignment is stretch enough. And yeah, now it is fine, good. So this result just had the text styling, text style, font size to be like nearly like 30. Okay, 40 is good. Okay, then font width should be bold because it's a result, and this color should be in green, so pick the green that you like. Okay, and since it's in a column, make sure just first reform it so you can see it properly. Just center this first, dot center. Okay, first text is done, we want to work on the second text, which is a bold one, which tells a results. For now, let's give a results as 20.3 or something, which should be a string. Done. And we want a style to be the k number, that style that we have already made. Good, but it's not too much big for this screen, right? Or I can as I told, I can just make my own text style where font size is little big, like 100 or something, or like 80 to 90. So let's stick to 100, and let's have this letter spacing as 0 and font width to be bold enough. And here let's change this bold to something like 6. Okay, so we have two things. We have results, we have this text, and we also want one prediction, that like a suggestion, or like a telling to user that you have gained a lot of weight, or your body mass is too low, or you have this normal body weight. So I'll just write an string that is an interpolation. So I've just pasted a random text and also have given little styling, and let's make it as center by property called text align. It should align to the center like a para. Now it is better. So the third thing that we want to do is a button. So which I can get it from the home screen. I can go here, the gesture that we have, just copy this gesture thing, come back to the results and paste it down here. See, we got it. So here what we want is, we'll just remove this navigator. Once it's removed, it's fine, it's looking better. Instead of calculate BMI, I can just write a recalculate. And also you can make a separate widget for this by giving on press is different, and also the text is different. Apart from this, everything is same. You can create a separate widget. Okay, so this is a challenge. I'm not helping you with this. You have to make your separate widget. Okay, you have to just change the text and also the on press properties. That's all. Okay, and change it in the home screen also. So we almost done. So it's a column, right? So let's try to place this everything. I mean, we are in the result screen. Yeah. So we are in the column. So just make sure the main axis alignment, not it is spaced evenly, so it is spread evenly, or a proper of space around or something. It should work. Okay, so just have to write, instead of space, you have to just write okay, this is space evenly. Fine. Okay, the next thing that we have to work on is make sure it is running, because it has stopped. That's why the error, it is not showing. The next important thing we have to work on is implementing the logic by using a class, which is so much important. So in the next video we'll try to do it. In this video, let's see how can we navigate back when I click on recalculate. So now, right now it is not doing anything. So the moment when I click on recalculate button, have to navigate it back using a pop. We have a method called pop. We just want which is the route, and the route we wanted is material page route, which is an home screen. and home screen. Okay, so moment if I click on this, it will go back to the main screen. So just refresh it. Oh, okay, the reason it is coming like this is because if you guys observed in the first, that what did I do is, in the main screen I have added this scaffold, then I have this home screen, where home screen will be starting with the direct column and the scaffolder which is not properly been there. Yeah, scaffolders, where the app bar is not there. So that's why you should not keep the router. You just have to tell. Okay, and the second most thing, we are in the result screen. Okay, we have used the push, that is wrong thing. We have to use a pop. Okay, the moment just refresh it again. Okay, I did a mistake. We have to use a pop, not a push. So I have to just write a navigator dot pop, which will pops out the context, which is belongs to that. When I click on the context, we have to go back to the normal screen with the app bar. Clear? So some might face a little problem here. This what you have to, this how the topic is been. Okay, so in the next class what we'll do, we'll get the input from the main screen here and try to get the results back here. Okay.